son and I lived alone. I was a single parent. He was 12. I was a full-time insurance agent. I worked a couple of side jobs. It's a small community. Everybody knew everybody. I came home from work and helped my son with his homework while I was cooking dinner. I put Nick to bed around 9:30. Nick woke up and came out and said that there was a man trying to get in his window. And of course I reassured him that nobody was trying to get in. There's always people on the streets, so I wasn't concerned. I told Nick that if he would feel safer, he could come in and sleep with me. So we went to bed, and I cuddled him up and we went to sleep. About an hour later, I heard somebody knocking on the door. So I got up and I went to the door to see who was there. I stood up on my tiptoes and I looked out the window and I saw a man standing there. He was kind of kicking at the ground. They say people have an instinct, and sometimes I feel an instinct, but nothing like I did that night. When I looked out the window, it was just like looking at the devil. I mean, you could just feel the evil through the door. He said his name was Jeff Wilson. He said that he had broke down and he needed to use my phone. So I said, well, I'm not gonna let you in. If you want, I can make a phone call for you. So he asked me to do that. He gave me a telephone number to call. I dialed the number, and the man said that he didn't know a Jeff Wilson. So I went back to the door and told him what he had told me, that he didn't know Jeff Wilson. He cursed and kind of kicked at the ground and started to walk away. When I saw him walking away, I was still a little frightened. I was afraid he would come back to the door, so I watched him. And I watched until he crossed the street and was out of sight. And I went to the phone and I called the Delaware State Police. And I thought maybe he was drunk. I was awakened again. I heard the front door slam, and it slammed really loud. And I thought it was my boyfriend coming in, because he'll go to Maryland hunting and he goes very early in the morning. I thought he was just stopping in to have coffee. So I got up and I was just kind of rubbing my eyes, going out expecting to see my boyfriend there. As I was walking past my washer and dryer, I looked up and I saw a man crouched down beside my trash can in the kitchen, and he had a butcher knife in his hand. As soon as I saw him, I screamed and I turned to run back to my room, and I thought if I could get there and get the door closed. But before I could even get all the way turned around, he had jumped up and grabbed my arm. He was just barking orders, and who else is in the house? And I told him my son was in the house. The thoughts that I were having was basically just how to get him out of the house, give him what he wants, get him out of here, make sure my son's safe. I don't want him hurt. He took me in the living room, had me sit down. I was saying, look, if I have a checkbook in my purse, you can have my checks, you can have my car, take all of it and just leave. And he said, I know I can have anything I want. I didn't feel like he was there to rob me. I really felt like he was there to rape me. And I was just very determined that I would die before that happened. I was also, at the same time, looking around the room to see what I could use for a weapon. But he wouldn't let me close to anything. At first, I tried to block to go in there, and he said, just come in here and sit down. I just want to talk to you, and I'm going to leave in just a few minutes. You'll be okay. So I did. I went in and I sat on the bed. He saw that there was $5 on the stand in my son's room. And he said, whose money is that? And I said, that's my son's money here under cutting grass. He said, oh, well, I can't take that. That wouldn't be right. I have 2 kids, too. And he told me he had a son and a daughter. He said that I was going to let him tie me up, and I was determined that wasn't happening. So I jumped up off the bed, and at that point I made up my mind I was going to fight. I was coming out of there. I was going to get my son out of that house if I couldn't get him out.